Welcome, GMAN Division 4A. Hey, I got it right this time. It's not 10A, it's 4A. We are back with the penultimate recap of this season. I am, of course, joined by Hummersup.
Hello, guys.
And, oh my god, I forgot to have the division open. Give me a second, guys. Take a look at the schedule real quick. There were some interesting games. I think the top team did get displaced, if I remember correctly. Let's take a look. First off, we have the Horror All-Stars losing to the Hogwarts Exiles. Interesting. The Necro losing to the Underworld. Although these Underworld have been doing very well, so it's not exactly a shock. They are 5th, so it's nice.
I should really note like who I favored in this one, or like in general. I think I favored Underworld here.
Yeah, I think we both did, but like I don't remember my name all of the time, so there's no I'm gonna remember what I predicted last week. Equal blocks, pretty equal removals, all things considered. Sick. Smart models winning versus the two thin codes there. This was a admin win.
Oh yeah, I see that.
Heavy hitters version 2.0, the dwarves winning versus Breakneck Rampage. Also to note is that the dwarves have already played against the lizards, this week. They played like yesterday and they won, so yeah. Right, I think we both saw this one coming. The Necro. I mean, this dwarf team is actually sort of insane.
Did you check the injuries?
Oh god, that's a lot of
The edgy
injuries.
4 kill got the edgy 4 white got killed.
Ah yes, I saw that in the thing. Bloat removed.
Oh,
Maybe.
and then AV bust on the flash golem. That's tough.
Yeah, that sort of sucks actually. Yeah, this dwarf team being a menace. Oh god, look at that SPP. Poor Underworld. Then, Only Fools and Hoggoblins winning versus the Nagarite Night Stalkers 2-1. This was
oh boy, check the injuries again.
We're checking the injuries later.
Never mind.
Are we not? Because like it's sort of hard when I'm looking at the teams because I can't see actually any of the injuries here.
Okay, you're looking like in game.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, then never mind me.
Right. This game, Only Fools and Hoggoblins winning against Nagarite Night Stalkers. I think that was slightly unexpected. I don't remember what I predicted, man. But it's not exactly a shock. Yeah, the injuries were extremely lopsided, with the Chorfs going ham basically. Good SPP on both sides. The Nagarite Night Stalkers. Oh, that's dodge, not armor. Never mind. They had decent dodges, I guess. Either way, not for the cat number 1 winning versus Messing Howlers. Not a shock there because it was an admin win. Then Assirats winning 3-1 versus Mazdamundi's Heirs. Also not a surprise there. Assirats, of course, being a beastly team. Let's take a look. The Mazdamundi's Heirs, 5 injuries in 44 blocks, and in exactly half the blocks, they exactly got half the injuries. Seems fair, I guess.
Yep, also the Reds played with 3 loners.
Okay. Dodges were pretty good because I'm guessing there were some IG3 dodges there. Can't really tell too much out of this. And there's the big one, 4-stun dwarf technique. Last week leading the pack with his Dark Elves losing against the Eldritched Ambrosia Runners and taking some big injuries, which we'll take a look at later.
Wow,
yeah.
that's weak. What the fuck?
These Underworld actually just went buck wild on this Dark Elf team, as you can see from the injuries there. Basically got pitch clear almost. It was absolutely brutal. I think someone streamed it. I'm not entirely sure who though. Armor.
Also,
40%.
all of the deaths this week were quite on pretty good players actually.
He go what? Sorry.
All the deaths in this week were on kind of good players mostly.
Yeah, That's unfortunate. As I said, armor 40% is absolutely brutal. Dodges at 95% is really above average, but I mean,
To join
eh,
Skink's fitness
right?
club, all
Armor
you
was
need to
actually
do
pretty
is
insane
sign
for
a
the
500
Elder
year
Shamburners,
contract. If you
as
forfeit
were
a
the
payment,
dodges,
don't
of which
worry.
they made
They
7
only
out of 7.
sacrifice you to Sotek.
Yeah. You can see where it all went wrong, I feel like.
Probably, yeah.
Then, let us go over to the teams and their development. Rebel.net, please work with me here. Thank you. First up, we have the Assy Rats. Do the rats take even bigger of a beating? Well, they got a
Nope,
MNG
they
on
didn't.
Anonymous, and that's about it.
Yep.
They have 170k in cash. Maybe they want some linemen, although I'm sure he doesn't mind having a couple loners as meat shield. Eldritch Ambrosioners click, and he's Underworld team. There we go. They won against the Dark Elves. I'm sure there's some SPP in it for them.
There should be a lot of, yeah.
No development.
But no level, yeah.
Never mind me. Moving on. 4-stunt dwarf technique. Oh god, this team. Ugh.
Check the devs. Like
I have.
3 devs, one of the
So,
blotch guard lineman,
Witch
one of the
Elf
blood
takes
lineman.
an armor bust,
Yeah.
which is bad, but not the end of the world in theory, because you don't want.
Yeah, but
I mean, think about it. There's a bunch of busts which would have been worse. In fact, every single bust in the game would have been worse, except for maybe a Niggle, and that's even arguable.
I think it depends because, like, on one hand, you are trying to defend her anyways, because you also don't want to get hit against AV7. But on the other hand, it's AV6 on the piling on piece. That's
Yeah,
like quite vulnerable to getting fouled.
I got a piling on piece on my high elf team now after my blitzer roll doubles. And basically the thing about him is that you only pile on in like extreme cases. You don't pile on, every block, because that leads to your players dying horribly. So that's
Yeah, of
really a skill
course.
you have to be conservative with. That's the word. Other deaths include alignment death, Guy McIntyre. Indran, as you can see here, got another armor bust. Then a lineman with Blodge died, and a Blodge tackle guard lineman died.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a tough one.
that's literally losing like half your team. Although thankfully, only one of those 3 deaths was on like a really important piece. So
Yeah, that's true.
technically, it could have been worse. He also got 2 levels out of it. Both block guard blitzers now have dodge, which is very nice. Perhaps a small consolation prize for El Duderino. He has 90k in the bank. I imagine he's saving up for another Witch Elf, I'm thinking.
Probably, yeah. He's fine with getting lone
Yeah,
alignment for like quite a while.
they're actually quite nice to have.
At Massive Bifford fan on Twitter
Right,
has just sent you a
moving on
rather
to Mazdamundi's
intimate
heirs,
message,
the
Bob.
Lizardman team.
Would you like to take a look?
Has the Super Skink taken
What
another
if
bust?
ogre on
It
ogre
has
action?
not, I don't
Yes,
think.
and he has gotten an AB bust.
Wait, that was last week though. No, wait, has
No, it isn't.
Mazdamundi's heirs? Yeah, they've already played this week, so yeah, they have gotten an armor bust.
Ah, yeah, okay, yeah. I see that.
Hold up 1 second while I bring up the team. Yep, armor bust on the Super Skink. This is basically the same situation with the Witch Elf. It's bad, but it could be worse, right? Then a level on Rex the Sacrosaurus.
Who picked up guard, which I don't see.
You don't see?
Because I would have, like, if you go and develop a vessel piece, like, then it's obviously a Saka with break tackle already.
So you
Then I
take
would go for
tackle.
tackle and not guard, because guard is also not synergizing too well with a wrestle.
Yes, I probably agree there, but maybe he's had some real trouble with bash teams, and he just feels like he really needs some of that guard. Perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like a super bad pick or like not
No,
hurting him, but I think tackle would have been just like to fit the role he was developing him into.
I would have to agree there. Moving on to the Essing Howlers, the Orc team here. That was an admin one, so they didn't get anything. Sick. Nagarite Night Stalkers.
It's rumored
Is this
that
the admin win
Spike
too? I don't think
magazine
it was.
editor, Yuri
Nope, it
Rimel,
was not.
actually hates
They got
sport
a
and
Guard
would rather
Lineman
play
die.
with action figures
That's a
instead.
pity.
This has
Then a
nothing to do
Blodge
with that
Tackle
looking at
Sidestep
last
Diving
issue.
Tackle Blitzer died, which is a very big pity. God, it's not the week for Dark Elves, is it? And then,
Yeah, that's
to
kind of
top it all
crazy.
off, the Mighty Blow Blog Tackle Sidestep Witch Elf died.
That's the most painful.
Yikes. Yikes. Although, Blitzer, no, Suffering 2, the Blitzer level that he has sidestep now. Yeah.
Yeah,
Pay
like
respect for
this
both
is
Dark Elf teams in our division.
this is a rough like week for Dark Elves indeed.
Yes. Maybe Hitters version 2.0. They have some pending levels, but that was because of this week's game, so we're not super mad about it. Did they have any levels? Yes. Varthol gets Mighty Blow. Alright. Nice. Good. Keep it up. He has a bunch of money in the bank too. For something. Maybe saving up for something in the market. Very possible.
Level 3 stadium. Let's go.
I've never actually seen a level 3 stadium. That's pretty interesting.
I actually do have one.
Yeah. Well, you have? You have like half a team too.
Yeah, but like when I started like early, I got like with Amazons you have everything you want, and I didn't get too many casualties in the first few weeks, so I got lots of money to spend.
Right, I can see
wouldn't
that.
like to use the word count,
Anywho,
as that has certain
smart
tax
models.
exemption implications.
This team is disgusting.
Yes, they got the admin one. Okay. They, disgusting is like a good word, but also he has almost 300k in the bank. So that's a thing.
What? He
Uh,
might be actually like going for the funsies, and let me check his stadium level.
Don't forget,
It's level
He's
2, so he
level
can't get
2.
level 4 yet.
must be
Sadly.
sufficient size.
We can get a level 4 stadium. Is like level 5 the max?
Level 4 is the max. Like you pay 200k for level 3, and then you pay 400k for level 4. So that's why usually you
Jesus.
don't get it, because no
Jesus.
one's like saving up 400k.
Um, except for Eldar, maybe. Who knows?
I mean, he just might be scamming a wizard next week because he will give
Yeah.
one away probably anyway. So I wouldn't mind that.
It's possible. Maybe he wants to replace one of his lesser Chaos Dwarf blockers with a better piece from the market.
Might also be true, yeah.
Possible. We'll have to wait and see. Hogwarts Exiles. I feel like this was an admin one, wasn't it? Hold up. I can't find them. No, I don't think it was. No, it wasn't. Good. They got a level on Harry. The Strength 4 Blitzer. He gets Claw now. Huzzah. Strength 4 Mighty Blow
Lovely.
Claw is a thing.
Yeah, having 3 claw mighty blow players now.
However, poor Neville, the wrestle tackle Skaven lineman, had to pay for it with an armor bust and a sack. Such is the life when Skaven linemen are positionals.
Yeah.
Do you think Oats? Let us take a look if they have managed to recover at least
Did
a little
you
bit.
know that the new
Well, they played.
Cabal HD
No, it was a
clothes have been
admin.
selling
That's right.
like hotcakes from
No
all
change.
outlets.
Don't confuse the viewers, Joe.
Breakneck Rampage.
They've been selling fast, not that they're
Oh,
making
actually,
out of cake.
did you see like when you check Tooth and Codes, his team status is thanks for the recaps. That's kind of nice.
Aw. Aw. It's nice to feel appreciated. Right. Breakneck Rampage. His Agi White died, as we mentioned earlier. Um, does he have a new one yet? He does not. Although he can afford it, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he
Yeah,
can.
and he got a Navy bust on a Flesh Golem who got sacked immediately.
Yeah, that's probably wise. Yeah, a pity, but then a zombie MNG. Where's Cadaver? Why isn't Cadaver here? Did he sack Cadaver?
Well, let me check actually.
Did he sack a MNG'd white? No, zombie.
Yeah, he did. Maybe for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, I don't
No,
see.
same amount of inducements.
I was thinking about inducements, but it wouldn't matter.
Necro coaches work in mysterious ways.
Did you know?
Only foes and
Park
hobgoblins,
run
we have
facilities have
to
only been
leave
built
that
in
mystery
modern
behind.
stadia since the last decade. Before
Let's
that,
take a look.
the waste was well,
We
actually,
see
no one knows where it went.
an armor break on a hobgoblin. He gets the boot, obviously, and then a level on bonsai curly hair for kick. It's interesting. I mean, kick is a good skill, but I would have expected. No, actually, he has the ball carrier bull centaur, so never mind. Kick is a good skill. I like kick. Right. As we move over to Not for the Cat #1, and I open REBBL.net, I see that it's an admin win. Great. And lastly, Horror All Stars. They got an MNG on a white. No, werewolf. And that's it. Alrighty.
Yep.
That is that in terms of what has happened last week. Yeah, last week. No, I mean what? Yeah, whatever. Let's take a look at next week's predictions. Go.
Yep. Give me a second. Yeah, there we go.
Transition. Um, Here we go. Only Falls and Hobgoblins versus Horror All Stars. I give this one to Only Falls and Hobgoblins.
Yep. Definitely, especially with how All-Stars missing a wolf and not
Right.
having Mighty Blow on any of those.
If we take a look at the leaderboard,
How's the missing
which
Tom?
you know what? I'm gonna have. I'll put
That
this.
don't mean I misses her.
I have an
She
idea.
took everything in the divorce.
Transition.
including my
If we take a look at the
family's
leaderboard,
secret gut plate.
we see Only Fools and Hobgoblins being in 12th, and the Horror All Stars being right below them. Neither of these teams care about playoffs, so it's basically all about survival for the Horror All Stars and SPP farming for Only Fools and Hobgoblins. That is what I'm
Probably, yeah.
thinking. Yes. Not for the Cat #1 versus Breakneck Rampage. Slightly closer game, potentially. Not for the Cat #1, he has a pretty nice team, even though it is weird in some places, especially with the Rat Ogre. Did he just buy a Rat Ogre? I don't think he
Yeah,
did
I
that
think I
before.
didn't see that before, and he's at 0 SPP, so probably he got that right now just for the
You
fun,
kidding
I
me?
guess.
Um,
I think he's having fun with his team.
yeah, I respect that. It is a fun pick. Rat Ogre, well, I'm not sure if Rat Ogres are fun, more frustrating
Like,
than anything.
wild animals in general are fun if you if you're fine with knowing they are not too good and blitzing with them just for the fun of it.
Right. So yeah, he has a decent team, except for the Rat Ogre. And his blitzers are sort of sketchy. But then again, the Necro only have like maybe 2 good players. I mean, the Wolf is obviously ridiculous, but he barely has a team to support it, right? Is that an...
Yeah,
Yeah.
it will be a tough one. I mean, it might happen that he is getting like steamrolling with
Always
the
wear
wolf and removing one
underpants.
player per turn,
Never know who might
but
be looking.
otherwise, I
Some of
think
these
it's pretty
cameras
tough for
are
him to win this one.
Nice
Who?
shirt, by the way.
For like, I'm favoring Skaven here actually.
Yes, I'd like to say the same. What does it look like in terms of inducements? I wonder. So, the Breakneck Rampage get 220k in inducements, which can't be ignored. I actually think
Yes.
the Breakneck Rampage are gonna take this one. Neither of these teams have a shot at playoffs. Any of them.
So yeah, probably development as well.
Yes. I do think the Necro has a good chance of taking this one, but it's gonna be close, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, I'm agreeing. I mean, I see like Skaven winning this, but on the same time, like you have the MVP Wolf, you have a Strength 5, Flesh Golem, who can be annoying. You have 3 guard and a fast like board carrier
Yep.
if you pick the ghoul. So
And
yeah,
potentially
it's
a
pretty
wizard.
even, I'd say.
Yep. Then we have Assy Rats versus the two thin coats. I think the Assy Rats are going to take this one, although we've said this before to the two thin coats, and they have pulled off some real BS. The two thin coats, if he's keeping this team, he's only really going to focus on development, really, I think, here, because he doesn't have a shot at any of the playoffs, whilst Assy Rats absolutely do.
Have to be careful though, as the highest
A win
prices
here
offer
is
limbs and
big,
other body parts.
and if they
Yeah.
don't get a win here, I think they're out of it.
Not bothered about waiting for the target
Yeah.
player to perish.
He might be like throwing in turn 1 Vanity Pass with the War Dancer and then trying to score with him.
Wouldn't shock me.
And I think this team is actually looking very good in terms of development. And if he's focusing on that for next season and leveling maybe his new War Dancer this game for Strip Ball, then he's quite in a good spot for the next season if he's not suffering any more casualties.
Yep. I agree. So yeah, I do think the Assy Rats are gonna take this one, but well, the Wood Elves get inducements, and Wood Elves with inducements are scary. There's a chance they lose, but yeah.
Just give me a second. Are you sure Woodhave's getting inducements? Because it's saying
I'm actually not sure.
it's saying 1600 TV for Woodhaves and 1430 for like the Reds
Oh, you're
in
right.
the overview on Rebel.net.
Yeah, you're right. I just assumed the Wood Elves would get inducements because of
I mean,
how
they don't
beat up
have
they
many
are.
players, but they have like pretty good players actually. And
Yeah.
Block on the Tree, like Mighty Blow on the War Dancer, movement, and a guard there.
I mean, it's true. And with the Rats getting a wizard, I would definitely favor them.
Yep, I can see that.
Right. Um, Moving on to Eldritch Ambrosia Runners versus the Hogwarts Exiles. Let's take a look where on the leaderboard they are. Eldritch Ambrosia Runners are 8th, so they're out of it. And the Hogwarts Exiles, they are 5th, so they still have a shot at champs, although perhaps not playoffs. I'm not actually entirely sure just how close they are. Let me take a quick look there, please. Why do I have the same thing open? Give me like 2 seconds as I get up the leaderboard. I mean, yeah, it's very close. Although Priswilfa, he has 18 points to the Heavy Hitters 2.0, 22 points. So
Yeah, not
25
even a win is
actually,
enough.
but they've already played their game.
Yeah.
A win here puts him at like what 21 points. I don't. That's not enough to challenge proper playoffs, but it could challenge champs if everyone above him loses and he wins by a million touchdowns. So there's a chance, but I don't think it's a chance you really want to take. It's more of a survival type of game. I mean, yeah, these are two on the roll team. They are both solid in their own rights. They both have crazy ball carriers. They both have crazy killers, and they both have crazy trolls. Um, yeah. I think inducements decide this one mostly. Let me take a quick look at what they are gonna get in terms of inducements.
I think a big factor actually in this game will be the tentacles on Hogwarts Exile's Troll.
Yes, I can agree with that.
Because he can take up many goblins or linemen or whatever and occupy them, whilst the other one doesn't have that, and they can maybe dodge away.
Potentially, yeah. Under Hogwarts Exiles get 200k in inducements, so a wizard there might be pretty big because of the Agi 4 carrier.
Yeah. So I'm favoring Hogwarts Exiles here with a wizard and the Troll of Tentacles. I think that's what's putting them on top of the matchup.
I do think I would agree. A lot of Eldritch Ambrosia Runner's team is just filler hobgoblins. He has 16 players. right? So I think while he does have the like staying power in terms of um if he gets moved a bunch of his players, I do think the Hogwarts Exiles would have like just a better team on the pitch.
Yeah.
So I do think the Hogwarts Exiles are favored here somewhat.
Yep. Agreeing here.
For Stun Dwarf Technique, the absolutely maimed Dark Elves versus Eldar's team. What a bad time to just have your entire team die, huh?
Yeah.
Both of
I
these
think.
teams, both of these teams are in the playoff race still. Um, Eldar is in second, with
Ah,
El
the Guild
Deuterino
of
being in
Bandits and
third.
affiliated
Big
trade.
game this for
An
both of them.
honorary member,
I
Yes,
would
I saw
say
your
Eldar
infamous
takes
after-dinner
this
speech
one,
at last year's GBAT
potentially.
Awards.
But, well,
The
the
following
Dark Elves get
riot
a
was
bunch of
really quite
inducements. I'll
wonderful.
take a quick look at just how many they get, because I think it's a lot, like 300k. They get more than that. They get 450k. 550. About
Yeah, but
450k. Yeah, yeah.
I still like see this Alva winning this because he can also focus with Blitz's focus the
Because he's your
remaining
boss.
rostered players. Yeah, that's why as well. Uh, and like they have a lot of dodge, which isn't like useful versus Chov. So I think this is heavily favored in Alda's direction, but like a weird wizard turn and maybe like being a bit too greedy on SPP, injury SPP on Alda's side might swing this in another direction. Who
I agree.
knows?
I think Eldar will take this one, as long as he plays carefully and doesn't like randomly forget about a wizard or something. I think his removal potential is through the roof, and you can't exactly do much with a wizard if you have 3 elves on the pitch. Yeah, I think Eldar takes this one.
Yep.
And lastly, we do have Essingen Howlers versus the Nagarite Nightstalkers. I'm gonna go ahead and say that the Nagarite Nightstalkers probably take this one. They lost some
Goblin
important
gambling
players,
are
but
a
they still
great
have a solid
company
team
to be
and a
affiliated
pretty
with.
great TV.
Any problems
Like
you may have
1500
are surely
for that
coincidental.
Isn't that the company
is
that you owe a
surprisingly
great deal
good.
of bad gambling
I
Yep.
debts
do
to?
think so. Um,
That has
they
nothing
get
to do with
inducements, right?
my
No, they get they get
spontaneous
inducements. They get
endorsement.
70k. Also because of loaners, they're actually 1620 TV, which is less great, obviously, but it's still pretty good. Night Night Stalkers, I mean, they're up there, whilst the Essingen Howlers aren't. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so tough to like matchups with this passing off team.
Yeah.
It's so weird to like predict anything there.
Um, it's a funny team, and I like the York team,
Yeah, I like it as well.
but I do think the Dark Elf team is just objectively better. So I do think the Dark Elves take this one.
Yep.
And that is the end of not the entire recap, just predictions. Let's take a look at the leaderboard, it proper. We have the Heavy Hitters version 2.0 up top, but we should remember that they have already played this week's game.
Yep. So I can get on top of them with a win as well as Eldorino.
Yes. El Deuterino, well, let's take a look. The Heavy Hitters version 2.0, they are at 25 points. Eldar coming in at 24, it's only 1 point behind, with likely a win this
I've
week,
just been watching
pretty
my
likely.
claw vision ball, Jim.
And El
This new
Deuterino
high
in
density
third.
feed is crystal
So
clear.
if either Eldar or El Deuterino wins, they go to first. Eldar with a slight lead, El Deuterino less so, with only 1 point in terms of leads. So yeah, it's a big week for all of them, except for the Dwarves, because they've already played. In terms of anyone else but the top 3, Missa has a chance at, well, there's a chance that they get the playoffs if they win this week and everyone else loses. Then there's a chance, but really I should be looking at Champs Cup,
Yeah.
which is gonna be tough when it's contested by those 3 up top. So I do think that this league has now become a race between the top 3 and sort of the top 2 after El Dirino's team just sort of died.
Yeah, the last 2 weeks will be really intense.
Yes, I do think so. So yeah, I don't have anything more to add. It's really a waiting game to see the results of next week, and then we can maybe we'll get a winner next. Well, I don't think the winner can be decided this week.
I don't think so, no.
No. So yeah,
But
very
like,
close.
we could see a trend, or like having like a favorite with the remaining matchups on week 13. We'll see.
Well, you can't beat a McMurdy squid burger.
All right, at
Always
just
upgrade
over
your
half an
meals to
hour,
glutton size, though,
we have
or
finished.
else you don't get it.
Woo! Yeah, I
And
mean, it was 2 admin games.
it's true. I think that's a decent time, honestly. Who knows? I have been your host, Gunnerside, with my co-host, Hummersep.
Yep.
See you guys next week.
See you around.